Alex Becker will publish his Gamblify video this Saturday and pump our backs. Today we'll talk about why Alex Becker will publish gambling video on Saturday and why the tokens I mentioned yesterday will pump. Why these specific tokens and not others. So this is one of the main reasons of why Alex Becker will publish his Gamblify video this Saturday. This is the post that he made yesterday that gaming will do a casual 50%, and he's usually posting these things before he is publishing video about gaming tokens on the weekend. He's mostly publishing videos on the weekend. The reason why I think he's going to be gambling videos because he promised that he would do 2 videos last week, one of which is gambling video, and he also had done quite a few reposts in terms of different gambling content. So the content about gambling tokens, and I will share about it a little bit later. And the main thesis that I have here is I've been watching Alex content a lot, and he's actually a nice guy. So I think that he would kind of give us this Christmas present where he would basically be launching and publishing a video about gambling this weekend to pump our backs. So this is pretty straightforward. And in terms of all the things that he promised already and all the dynamic that was happening with his videos. So one of the things is around 6 days ago, so last weekend, he mentioned that Gamblify is doing its default theme. So he mentioned BPP and BCB, and that's why I specifically included these 2 tokens in my overview in the previous video. I think that there is a high chance that he will mention them. BCB he will most confidently mention on the video. VPP is something like a bit risky, I would say, but I have a nice back of VPP, and I essentially have the thesis that he would do that definitely, and there is a high chance that he would basically do it on the upcoming video this weekend. One of the interesting things that he mentioned recently, that he's going to Dubai and he will not work in the last 10 days of the year except networking and finding deals and things like that. It's quite interesting because it will probably show us that this might be the last video in this year, and we also know that he is recording videos as a hobby, so that's something quite interesting to follow as well. One of the things that he reposted is the list of Gamblify tokens. I think he reposted it about a week ago, and if you would check out my yesterday video in terms of the gaming picks that I think will pump the most on this weekend once Alex will publish the video, we see Kineko, WINR and BCB here as well. Why I think they will pump the most is because BCB is a high conviction play that he was mentioned already, and there are public buys on his wallet. WINR I think is just something that will follow the narrative, and it's a nice market cap. It's also a nice infrastructure play which Alex likes. And Kineko, so I'm not very sure that he would specifically mention it on the video. However, it's already at around 12, I think 14 market cap. It did at least a 2x from the initial mention on this channel, and it's a casino on Solana, which is kind of huge currently because Solana just today reaped to $100 at a coin. So there's actually a high chance that he will mention this, and it's kind of interesting because he reposted this, and I think that these are 3 of my highest conviction play in terms of he actually mentioning them on the video, and then pumping the most based on the market cap that these tokens currently have, because they're not huge in terms of the market cap as of now. Interesting update for BCP as well, that they're adding BRC20 support into the inter-their exchange, which is always nice because they're adding more liquidity into the whole thing. And if you check about the product, it's already a working product, so you can go and you can bet on different events that are happening basically in terms of games and things like that. So it's quite huge in terms of the whole platform, the utility, and people who are basically moving this in the niche. It's nice consolidation and correction for the last week. It might be nice buy here, but as mentioned in the previous video, it's my top 5. So I think it will pump the list of all of the 5 tokens that I will be showing currently. WINR protocol is an infrastructure play where you basically can engage with them and get yourself a white labeled version of the casino, which then you would be able to apply your own UI and UX like designs and things like that and your branding, and you would have a revenue share model within WINR, so you would not have hassle of essentially implementing your own token and things like that. And there are several platforms that are pretty successful and big in terms of using the infrastructure already, so it's definitely a safer and nice play. I had 10k of WINR WINR. Unfortunately, I sold because I thought that huge unlocks would essentially dump the product down. I think it's surging already. I actually had a dream today that it pumped 5x from current numbers. So we will see. I might be getting it back on the correction. One of the reasons of why I actually sold it and why I did not enter Kineko as well is because a large chunk of my portfolio is Polker and VPP already. And these two, they're kind of closing this gambling and gaming narrative for me. So this is basically my bet in terms of this narrative. And I would like to be diversified in terms of the whole portfolio and things like that. So Kineko is just surging. It's a casino based on Solana, kind of similar to Rollbit. They're doing nice revenues and things like that. And it's definitely still an undervalued project. There is a chance that Alex would mention it on the video. As we see here, he reposted it and we see Kineko. And actually by the time of this repost, Kineko is the lowest market cap in terms of all of these coins. And I think it's actually still the lowest market cap. And it's very nice narrative because it's on Solana, that is surging, it's a casino, it's revenue, it's similar to Rollbit. So it's a very, very nice, interesting thing, a nice investment still, and a nice play, nice short-term play if you want to kind of overrun things before the video. Although I think people are buying here in anticipation that video will come out and there would be a mention of this. So it's a lower chance that he would mention it on the video, but it's just a nice project by itself. And I don't see it like correcting much from these numbers as well. The whole casino is working, so it's basically a working product. You can go on the whole thing, you can like play and things like that. So, and you can also get more balance with the cards. So it's kind of interesting and seamless play in terms of the liquidity as well. And all these tokens that are connected with casinos, they're usually pretty lucrative plays because you're basically getting a share of the revenue based on the amounts of tokens that you hold. So it's kind of like owning a part of the casino, which is always huge and nice because that's a model that's working for hundreds of years already, if not thousands. Polker. So this is number 2 in terms of the coins that I think will pump the most based on my previous video. So it's already actually a working product and they have some things that should happen this month. Maybe they actually getting placed on the next one because we don't have much time left. And the thesis was that they had a planned release of the Android application. So they already have the application in Epic Games. It's like a game you can basically download and play. I had some feedback from poker players that it plays nicely, from the guys that used to play like default poker in different things. It has NFTs, it has gamification. It's also in Unreal Engine 5, which is quite nice if you would ask me. The only issue that I might see here is the actual user base and the amount of revenue that this product might not or might be generating at this stage. But I assume that these things, they will be closed once they would essentially fundraise after they will release the Android application. So it's a more risky play, I would say, at this stage, but obviously most of the profits, they are in the things that have risks, and there are no profits without risk, because when everything is valued properly, like 100%, and we're in ideal scenario where economy should be distributed evenly, there is no profit there. In ideal distribution of goods, there is no profit. So it's this type of plays that we're kind of checking, and it's our goal to understand that it's actually low risk, it's just high uncertainty, assess our risk, and essentially bet on this the way that we want to bet. I actually have a thought that like real poker players, they should be doing quite good in terms of crypto, because it's similar to placing your bets based on the information that you have. And obviously in crypto you can have more information and best quality of information if you have insights from the teams, from the investors, and things like that. My top 1, this is VPP. Alex really loves this token. He was mentioning it last round like multiple times in multiple videos, and at the same time he has already mentioned it currently as well. So the thing that I've showed at the start, I think I closed it, I'm sorry, in terms of Gamify tokens and the fact that VPP is surging, there is a high conviction that he would mention it on his upcoming Gamify video. It will basically be based on the fact on whether or not he will mention it. But I think anyway, it's a solid project. They have a team, they have VCs on board. VCs, they hold like millions of these tokens. They can't take profits on millions of these tokens currently. So it definitely makes sense for them to push the price higher so they can take profits on this thing. Alex is definitely the advisor for this thing as well. They're near Tokyo, they are generating revenue, they have increasing amount of user base. So I think this is definitely a long-term hold for me in terms of my Gamblify play, and I would be looking to exit most of my position by the end of 2024 or 2025, depending on how the market would basically go. But yeah, I think this thing is huge, and it's definitely going to be huge. And interesting thing is it's very easy to start the game with your friends. So you just click start the game, you copy this link, you send it to your friend like on Telegram, on Discord, on WhatsApp, and he can just join and play right away. And interesting thing is that you can also just integrate your MetaMask wallet and play with your stable coins, let's say, which is huge, as I would say from my point of view, because it's very interesting. It's a real utility for crypto to be able to play with stable coins in Polker that you can set up very quick and easily. So this is it from my end in terms of the overview. Probably now you would have a little bit more conviction in terms of the projects that I've mentioned yesterday. I do think that they will pump once Gamblify video will be published, and I think it is a high chance that it will be published this weekend, because Alex is going to Dubai in a year like that, and he promised us a video. And yeah, it just makes sense for him to do a video this weekend, and he already mentioned it. So there is a high chance on that he already started working on it, or he's like planning about things that he will mention, things like that. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.